their chances should be better. But we're seeing him now here in the losers semis in this best of 3. And now we're going to see what Boom's going to be kicking us off here in the first attack of this war.
Yeah, you say their chances should be better, but it's really, in this current meta, it's anyone's potential win at any given situation, especially when we're seeing some of these teams with such great overall defensive rates. And we're actually seeing Entropy Gaming just a touch over ATN, so this could work in their favor. But Boom needs to come in strong with a strong start. Goes in with a Blizzlalo, which did not work in his favor the first time around. Badzinger able to hold him off. I don't know if that's going to be the case for Entropy Gaming. Boom might have just had like one hiccup today, and see if he can come through strong throughout.
It wasn't really a huge hiccup either, but we'll have to see. Hopefully, it won't replicate that in this next attack. The Queen coming out from the south side also, as well as the King just pushing on forward. But to see what the Queen can do now, just edging into that Town Hall compartment. The King's still there in that eastern side, just pushing on towards it. The RC is also going to be there as well, just to be a little bit more of a helping hand here. But again, getting a lot of value done already, and still 30% done with 1:45 left remaining. The King's abilities also popped over. The RC still there intact to make sure to take out a lot of this defense, to give the King a little bit more leeway. And the Queen, even though she's just sitting there sunbathing in that poison, at least she's taken down that Town Hall.
Oh, King, what are you doing? We wanted that scatter shot down, but the Royal Champion is on it just through that invisibility spell. So he gets everything he pretty much wanted out of this range. Now the Loons are going to have to cross path going into the core, where we do have the potential damage zone, but I'm just noticing the outside Tesla farm that just crops up. So he's got the extra Loons that he's got to bring in, but they're going to suffer a little bit of damage as they make their way through into that splash section.
Yeah, still got a couple of haste spells left to use, and obviously for this multi, he needs to try and get there as soon as physically possible. Free spell comes down as well to delay that DPS, but the problem is though, Bede, most of the majority of these Loons have already been taken down here, so the multi is going to get even more value. Finally gets taken down eventually, but at what cost though? These Loons have already taken a huge amount of damage as it is. 40 seconds left. We're going to have to see what else it can do. But the problem is with the Inferno Tower there in the center, the Wizard Tower just make man as well, and the Expo. Oh, it's always going to be trouble here for Boom. This is, again, not the start which ATM would like. But saying it, though, there's still the only odd 1 or 2 Loons left. Still got the Warden there as well, but I don't think it's even going to work out. Even if he does succeed, it does look like it will be a time fail here for ATN.
Yeah, you know, the only thing I think that could have really helped this out was the King staying inside that scattershot compartment and the Royal Champion actually being able to work through eliminating some of those defenses, particularly the single targeting Inferno here in the core of the base. This is where you really see it just missing the mark ever so slightly. So a solid defensive start here for Entropy Gaming. But for ETN, they do have good percent. That 94% can come back into their favor. And we saw that came down to a percent game against Entropy Gaming with Repotted. So ATN could have this on their side if they keep their eye on the prize.
And was there anything in particular you picked up on as to why that may not have been a triple? Was there any other parts of that attack where you felt like could have got a little bit more value at the beginning, or maybe something with the Loons towards the end?
Yeah, I'm actually trying to take a look at the replay quick. Just the distraction of the King to the end. Yeah. You see me grabbing my screen to take a look at the replay. You know, there was a lot on the outside edge that kind of pulled the King around. If the Royal Champion had come in, that really would have helped out because the Loons just suffered. It was nice placement of the Tesla farm that just allowed even more damage coming in, like I said, to those Loons who had to contend with the splash damage. I really don't see any other big faults other than that, honestly.
Yeah, it was just very, very minor differences which could have created a slightly bigger impact there, because it wasn't exactly a, you know, the worst attack or failed in any way. Of course, that Tesla farm was a bit of a nuisance, just depleting some of these Loons, but also giving the multi a little bit more value in the long run, which makes a lot of sense here. But that's where we're starting off here for Entropy Gaming, and hopefully we'll get the triple this time around because of how well he's been doing. And look, we've got E-Drags here coming out from Bats here. Again, I was saying to Banks, at least he gets one E-Drag in the composition to take out some of the structures, but we're going to get a full line of E-Drag coming out here from Bats, and let's see how successful this is going to be.
I think Bats and General X are those two players that we can expect to see this from time to time. But I like that they're going base specific and not just carrying through with it, finding the right purpose. And with these E-Drags, we really want to see some good chainable value, particularly coming through the core, so we get as much damage down as possible and keeping those rages going. But the heroes are a huge part of the support here, so we have to keep them working along, hanging on to this kicking ability, and trying to give ample opportunity for the Royal Champ to meet up and assist with those E-Drags that are going to slowly fizzle out. This is about where we see them dying down and the heroes need to come into play.
Yeah, the King's already started things off already, popping his ability, taking out the majority of that Eagle compartment. Not really giving the RC much work to do here, but considering the amount of HP that these E-Drags have, it should be perfectly fine here. It's not really going to be about that time fail. It's all going to be about whether this composition can try and stay alive. We'll have to deal with the Tesla farm as well, but I think that's literally going to be about it here. The RC's already got plenty of HP. The Queen hasn't even used her ability, so she's going to be perfectly fine as it is with 90 seconds left remaining, and that is going to be a done deal here. And I'm quite similar with Banks, really. You know, I do like to see this E-Drag composition, but it's very hit and miss, isn't it? Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and when it doesn't work, it's normally quite a poor percentage. But for Batso, he's definitely made sure to get this triple here for Entropy, and the early lead here against ATM.
Yeah, early lead on the stars and keeping that percentage up, but we could see this quickly shift around depending on what ATN has brought to the mix defensively. We did see some defensive holds against Badzinger, so I would expect that we will see maybe one or two going up against Entropy, but they also know them rather well. I mean, because you have a lot of the German players on the side of ATN, though ATN is a mixed team. They've met up quite a bit through German tournaments and, you know, have played often together. So Entropy Gaming really does have ATN's numbers in so many different ways, I would say.
Yeah, this is the issue for Entropy, isn't it? They can reveal what they want, when they want, and how they want to do it. But I think if it was ever a time to do it, it needs to be in this matchup, because the chances of being an ATN, you know, definitely a well-established team in terms of their reputation, everything else, and their wealth of knowledge, it's very, very tough to come by. And for Entropy, it's going to be annoying for them, the fact that we have to reveal any, you know, strategies that are saving for at a later stage in this tournament. They've got to do it this early on. And this is why another reason I was saying that Repotted and Badzinger will be keeping an eye on this matchup, depending on the circumstances of that upper bracket final. But we know it's going to be starting things off here from the 8 o'clock side. They're going into that scanner shot compartment. And speaking of that scanner shot's already cleaned up beautifully, already at fast pace. Only 30 seconds have gone and already causing a little bit of a ruckus here already. And it's already a good start here. And as we're going to be kicking things off, the Dragon Riders coming out for Mask.
Yeah, so we have the log launcher. You know, this is the attack that I always say can be a little bit risky. The log launcher leading the Queen into the town hall, because typically you have nothing left to actually take that town hall down once you get through with a plan. You have the King setting up the funnel. You bring in the Royal Champion to help support these drag riders coming in, and of course the Warden. So it relies heavily on the Queen getting full value and not having a lot of traps along the way to take out the healers. But what we do see often now are some healers in the log launcher to come out just to give the Queen extra provisions and support coming through. She's in a good spot hanging on to the ability, and there are those healers. Healer props up and helps just add to the mix in case we had lost any.
I was going to say, if Master's another 2-star here, then what have you done with him? That's all I'm going to say, because it would be so uncharacteristic of him, considering like what he's done so far in this league this season. But so far, it is looking very good, though. We did say that 18 used a lot of Dragon Riders over the last couple of playdays, but to be fair, though, in the previous war, they didn't really. They were quite unorthodox with some of the bits they were using, but it wasn't like anything which was undervalued in any way, or, you know, unorthodox in any way either. But the multi in the center is getting quite a bit done here, which is why the RC is now going to make sure to put a stop to that. Still a minute left remaining. The Queen still has her ability. The minions already making the start onto the structures on the north side to avoid that time fail. But speaking of that, though, it looks like everything's going to be perfectly fine. All the defenses have been taken down, apart from the Expo and the Archer Tower there in the northeast side. Dragon Riders now just trying to clean up the rest of this defense along the way to give his minions a little bit more room, a little bit more DPS to then follow suit with straight afterwards. But for Master, this is exactly what we expected. A nice, you know, smooth sailing triple, not the one he had earlier on in the previous war, but this is exactly what we like to see and why he's been one of the best attackers in this region.
Yeah, and you see the patience holding on to that warden ability as he made the approach to the defending royal champion who was right there covering the scatter shot. So great value out of holding that on because he could clip the headhunters in there, take down the royal champion quick, and also spare the very thinned out drag riders that he had going through to secure taking down that scatter shot, which was key to this. It's not an easy move to do, and that's why we're seeing such a lower hit rate on the queen charge drag rider attacks, except for some of these exceptional players that really know how to plan that out and how to hold on to their hero abilities.
Yeah, that's what I like about Mask. It's all about his patience and discipline, isn't it? And also his micromanagement and some of the other compositions he uses. It's just an absolute pleasure to watch, where other people would have done something a little bit differently, or if we used the same attack outright, our execution would nowhere near as good. But Green's going to be coming out now to see what he can do to try and hold on to that one start lead. We know it's had, a little bit of trouble in the past, but we'll see what he can do this time around. And you can see, though, you've got to remember, it's still got a decent percentage on top of that here, and it's something you do not want to lose against ATN. And even with the King starting things off, and the Ice Golem coming out as well as the Queen that's already taken out one of the ADs and pushing on forward into that East compartment, with the RC also coming out as well here for Reen.
Yeah, so interesting to see the queen and the queen went down fast on this one. I was going to say interesting to see the queen and royal champion together. Queen would have benefited more working with the king, I would think, to get the full value, and the royal champ struggling to get past a scatter shot, but has just enough life to do it and has the ability, which is going to just carry through, taking on a couple more defenses and take down the defending royal champ. But look at this, we've got the king down for the count, was unable to take down the eagle. The ice golems are trying to pick it off, but the builders have the opportunity to bring this back up. So he's going to have to throw something in the mix here. And of course, we have that AD still lying alive and well. This is problematic for a lot of reasons, because we have all that damage coming in, but we have more of a wider spread than we originally anticipated.
That's exactly what I was going to say. It's the widespread which he does not want. Of course, you don't want him in a huge clump either, but you want to spread out enough in order to equally take out a lot of the defenses along the way. But without one or two of those drags, it could cause some issues along the way, because you need every ounce of DPS possible in order to try and distinguish anything in the center and also take down, especially these multis as well. It's also causing a little bit of a problem here. And look at that dragon in the north side. Finally, that eagle's been taken down. It took a huge amount of time there, but also took a lot of damage in the meantime as well, which is definitely not going to help out during the long or the later stages of this attack there. But still, no, still got a few dragons, the dragon rider, and he's still got the warden there on the back line as they're pushing on forward. But the problem is, though, the Inferno Tower's getting a little bit repaired there in the center as well. But the problem is, though, look at what's left here. If they get distracted by any other defense along the way, then it's going to cause a lot of trouble. But that dragon rider's already on very low HP. One of the airbombs will get taken down straight away, and this looked like it will be one of the first slip-ups here for Entropy Gaming, something ATM weren't desperately requiring as of yet. It's still early days, but something which will definitely give them a lot of leeway in terms of this war.
You know what? I think they want to see the quick switch up of this. They want to regain control fast. They don't want to play it to the very end, knowing that there is a lot on the line. I mean, it's a best of three. So even, for either team, if they don't make this matchup, they have the opportunity to just switch it up in the next round and try and force it into a third match, but nowhere near enough time. I got to give it to Reen, because he really did handle this well. He's gotten the percent high, not as high as they would hope for, but enough so to not throw them too far out of the ranks against ATN. This still is going to be a very closely knit match. We're talking 6%. What did he come in with before? Boom came in with was it a 94 96%?
I wish you didn't ask me that question, because I forgot it as well, but I'm sure some of the lovely people in production can show us the stats on the left right hand side to find out exactly what's going on. But it was 94%. I just heard in my ear confirmed, so literally 3% between the two. That's how close it's been, and you guys can see at home as well. So ATN do have the 3% advantage, but I think the talking point of that last attack is the fact that it wasn't just because of that one dragon he had to use in order to take down the eagle. It's the fact the eagle was able to get so many shots off before it was taken down, because the eagle artillery was there probably an extra 30 seconds before it was then cleaned up, and by then it already did a lot of damage to the majority of his units.
Yeah, and we talk about the pathing of these dragons, and it is really important to keep them clear and concise so you can work together, you can get the force into the center of the base, and that could have really changed up gears. just a little bit more for him. But let's see what Ask can do in the means of trying to keep the favor on ATN's side, or if he's going to hand this one back over an opening to Entropy Gaming. So we drop in fast right through for the town hall, take it down swiftly, and we get the CC lure. I always love this combination because we're taking down, a big damage item that we don't have to worry about having to path through, but we also have the added bonus of taking out the CC, getting that lure, and bringing it to a nice dark corner where your heroes are still going to be going in fully refreshed, especially when you bring that unicorn to the mix for the queen.
Yeah, for Astis, it's going to be a nice little start for him. And even though it's a 3% advantage here for ATN, they need everything they can get here against Entropy because they know how good their attacking side is. The Queen now just looking to push on forward here with the King, but going to take down some of the defenses first on the south side, whilst the King at least cracks on and is going to go straight for that defensive RC. It all depends on how they're going to crack on here, but the Queen does divert back towards the King. The King has popped his ability, takes down the scanner shot. The RC has come out as well, so just trying to get them all in sync and coordinated well in order to try and take a lot of this defense here along the way. But the Queen ability has been popped. The RC hasn't as of yet. Still got plenty of HP trying to get into the side of that west compartment, and of course taking on that multi would be huge here, but it's going to be greeted by a Tesla farm here, which means that he may have the possibility a little bit earlier than expected, and the loons have come out to play as well as the warden as well from the 9 to 12 o'clock side.
Yeah, so multi goes down fast. He knew that Royal Champion would have enough control to take that on. I think it would have been a nicer bonus to get more out of her, but it's going to be met with her demise as she works through into the center of the base. But I am impressed that she did managed to go that long with so much defense targeting her. Loon pathing looking good. Yes, he has to work through into the core and loses out a ton of loons, but he still got a lot of support for the back end, being very smart, holding on to 5 loons for a little distraction towards... Oh, they are going down fast. Look at the damage from that Warden Tower and the Skelly combination. There's really not a leg left for us to stand on this one. I was hoping to see those loons just push a little bit further. But at this point, again, he knows he's got to try and pick that percentage up. They're holding that small lead, such a small lead for them at 3%. But Entropy Gaming could take it back over by stars now.
Yeah, going from up by 3% to probably, what, about 1 star and 15%, a completely different kettle of fish in comparison. And, third time today, we've seen a tornado trap completely end or just destroy an attack. It just shows how important that placement of the tornado trap is, especially for baiting purposes, and especially for these loons as well. It's been really unfortunate for Aster because, again, it would have been a completely different story if that didn't come into fruition, but it's just one of those things. So we'll be a 2-star 82%, just going back through the stats now, which does mean that, of course, if 3-star from Entropy comes in here for an attack, of course, a huge bit of leeway for them here, as they'll be up by 15% as well. Nice little way to head them into the final attack. But at the halfway mark, definitely back and forth here, but another opportunity now. We saw it with Bansinger, where, they had that 1 star and then ATM able to try and capitalize, but they couldn't. Now, it depends if Entropy can try and do it. If not, then that's basically the storyline today, is the fact that if you give your opponent a huge advantage at the start, you're going to end up winning at the end. Surely we're not going to get it 3rd time in a row.
Yeah, I honestly, these are the matches where I'm just not quite sure. You have to expect the unexpected within most of it, especially after what we saw in the Entropy versus Repotted Gaming, that massive quick turnaround and super, super clutch at the end. But Beezus now sending in the blimp to go for the Town Hall. Blizzard to kick this off, sends right over top. Well, not over top the Town Hall, just right to the outskirts. And again, we get that CC lure. Want to pick up a lot of surrounding damage to really carry through shaping up what we need for the Lalo pathing. But this is also going to help dictate where we're placing the heroes as well. I would say I like the position of that multi down on the bottom side of the base. So we need to kind of keep that queen focused along and bring the king and royal champion in for some support.
Some delays here for Beezus, which is perfectly understandable, and the delays are going to continue, but not for too much longer, as the Queen now is going to finish things up with those lava pups and now heading towards that west compartment. Also, the Loons also just trying to take some defense along the way, as well as trying to scout out for any other traps also along the way. But the King's now going to be creating that path here for the Queen, just heading towards the south side. but not looking too bad so far for Beezus. And like we rightly said, you know, getting a triple here will be huge for Entropy, leading into those final 2 attacks later on. But it looks like the Queen is going to be diving straight into that scanner shot compartment. Again, good funnel here from Beezus to make sure it's as effective as possible, but also at the same time, the King just taking down the AD. As the multi will get a fair amount of value here, and she's got to be careful because she will be greeted by the defensive RC, but it looks like the Loons are all going to be coming out here, as well as the Warden now pushing in towards that Eagle compartment.
Yeah, beautiful coordination. But we do have the Royal Champion to try and take on that multi. That's the only problem is it's already sniping off some of these Loons in the approach. He started maybe just a tiny bit too early. It shouldn't be enough to make this suffer as we have the Royal Champ still carrying through, but we need to get this Warden ability off. Oh, and he has taken a while to get up there. Manages to actually clip those Loons going into the center, which is huge. That's exactly what they needed because look at all those traps and finishing off with the Tornado Trap on that single targeting Inferno. That's not the concern right now. That scatter shot is going to be.
Certainly is indeed. What a trouble it's going to cause. And it's a shame because you've got 40 seconds left on top of that. But look, that Inferno Tower just slowly getting repaired. And there's not really anything even nearby in order to stop that from happening to try and take it down as soon as possible. You've got a couple of bits in his back pocket just to clean up some of the structures. But all this defense is in range of that. So not really going to be any of use as of yet. It's still trying to take down the Expo. He's still got the scatter shot there as well. And it's lucky for him, though, he is focusing on the Warden at the moment, so the splash damage is not going to be too much, but it doesn't change the fact that it's just going to go straight towards the Inferno Tower anyway. It looks like it is going to be a failed attempt here for Beezus, but it looks like it will be a 91%. It's such a shame considering that this was going to be a great way for him in order to try and capitalize on the mistakes 18 have made, but it does mean they still got that percentage advantage.
Yeah, holding on to the percent is certainly a good spot to be in against ATN, especially if they're going to continue on a 3-star streak after this. This is kind of the motivation. You know, you come off a 2-star and you think, okay, yeah, it was a 2-star, but we've got the percent up. So even if ATN keep throwing down triples, that's all we need to do. We just need to show up in this match. And, you know, they could try and get this win over ATN. It's definitely there and an opening.
Absolutely, because they're only up by 6% at the moment, so you know it's enough to give them the leeway to guarantee a triple with the final attack in order to secure that victory. But you know, it's like I said before, we've seen it time and time again, 2 matches in a row. I don't think we're going to see it for 3 matches, but it looks like we are going to be at this stage, considering Beezus getting that 2-star 91%, and we are going to have the Super P.E.K.K.A. Smash once. Well, I say once again, but we haven't really seen it as often as expected, like especially for a final as well. We saw it a lot throughout the play days. Throughout the last couple of play days, it did die out just a tad, especially in terms of his attack alone. But it's going to be coming up with 4 P.E.K.K.A.s now. So we're going to see how he's going to try and make this work. As Violet, we've seen him use this Super P.E.K.K.A. Smash a few times before. He's been very successful with it in terms of his history, in terms of his track record. But let's see if he can do it again against Addy's defense here and really give themselves a little bit of a helping hand and try and catch up to Entropy.
What I like that we're seeing is the bats with it. This is something, you know, we do get to see the Super P.E.K.K.A. Smash, like you said, maybe not too much today so far, but seeing it with the bats is something that we don't often get to see. So he's relying on having some additional push coming along with it for the cleanup on the backside of the base. And we're looking to get this target where we're taking down a lot of splash, but we still have those wizard towers to worry about. Carrying through nicely. Ooh, and the Stone Slammer option here to actually cut through the center and really work along. And, you know, I think the biggest problem right now is that we've lost everything coming through that initial section. No healers. Queen is just hanging on to this ability. So this risk might actually pay off because those bats are going to support for the cleanup.
Certainly will do indeed. It's going to be looking very tough indeed, though. But even with the Stone Slammer taken down, the bats have come out. And the good thing is, in terms of the position, you can see around where those bats are. There's not really anything with splash damage. Yes, you've got the AD, but of course, it's not going to be able to do much, especially with the amount of bats coming out here already. Doing a lot of work. It's still got 1:10 left remaining here, B. So still has time to make this work to try and get to that Wizard Tower if he can. The Scalashaw's still frozen and still the bats are trying to take it down as long as physically possible. Will he be able to do it? Yes, he will. And still get the Tesla. The Wizard Tower's also been taken down here, B. So this is just going to be a matter of if it's going to be a time fail or not. But let's be real here. With the movement speed of these bats and the way they're splitting up as well, I think it's going to be perfectly fine. Vale was cutting it close, but did get there in the end. It does get a well-deserved triple, and a triple they desperately needed as well going into this final portion of this war.
Yeah, those freezes just a little bit off, but he dropped that ice golem in so fast to distract the wizard tower. That's what I was so worried about there. Handled it perfectly and exactly what ATN need, but they're still not safe. You know, just because they threw down the 3-star doesn't mean they're in the clear. They're going to need to hold at least one more defense in the mix. And Entropy Gaming, I feel like, could be revved up and ready to go, knowing that they've just, they've climbed a pretty big mountain by actually going halfway into this and being able to claim a lead, even if it's on percent.
Yeah, and it's like I said, 6% is almost nothing considering what we've seen so far today, with a lot of the defense has been cracking down on some of these attacks or some of these approaches here from a lot of these players. But Nabama, we can see what shenanigans or mischief he's going to get up to, already causing a bit of a ruckus here in that western compartment. The Queen's also coming out as well at the exact same time, just to try and finish up anything along the way here. Already looking to be a very good start. And he does have 23 Hog Riders and does have that healing spell to keep him going. And depending on where he's going to place it, of course, where the majority of defense is going to be, hopefully this will be successful for Nabama, because he desperately, again, needs his triple to keep him in this matchup going into the final attacks here.
Yeah, so we had some great Yeti Blimp value. Getting that rage in clears out the entire compartment, including the defending hero, that defending AQ, which is also setting off a nice tone to Pathis Queen looking into this open chamber. This is looking so lovely, especially with the king to secure taking down the town hall, and the queen temporarily actually distracting the CC troops. Not a lot of damage coming in on her. She's at a perfect spot where she's only taking on that expo, and Scattershot is just out of range.
And as the Queen is still pushing on forward, but it's got to do a lot of the defense at the time there. But look at the town hall, that does get cleaned up here. The King of Bit's already been used. The Queen's still having to be, because at the moment being instigated in such a way, literally like a statue at the moment, just keeping at bay, but it's not going to change anything. There isn't really enough DPS there for her to actually cry on. But even then, though, the Rage Spell does come down, would take the scatter shot momentarily. The Eagle compartment is literally so chaotic at the moment, it will get taken down eventually. The healing spell does come down as well, just to get as much value for these Hog Riders as much as possible. But still has an invisibility spell left in the back pocket. Both the RC and the Queen have their ability. Even the Warden does as well, actually. So this is looking very good indeed for Nabama to take him into this final attack of this war with a nice steady lead here. The multi's getting a little bit of value at the moment, but those Lunges should be able to take that down momentarily. The RC still pushing on forward, still has ability, mind you, is now going to be taking down that scanner shot as well here. So still looking very good here for Nabama, just hitting that 74% mark, and the Queen's also on the other side, just making sure to avoid that time fail later on.
Yeah, these heroes are really the ones who have to get this job done. Those hogs got massacred coming in from the start, really thinned out fast, especially towards the back end, what remained. But the heroes are standing strong, and his beautiful navigation of the Queen comes into play and in his favor, and she's really helping to carry this one through. And notice the cleanup as well. You know, these players are looking around to see, as they're pathing, whether it's Lalo, whether it's Hogs, to make sure that once those defenses go down, or at least are distracted, they can start getting their cleanup in, so they're not worrying about these time fails. A beautiful triple coming in for Nobama. And Entropy Gaming is really keeping this a tight-knit match.
It's ridiculous. It literally is, isn't it? But it's like I said, I'm glad they can finally take advantage of what happened in the previous attacks here from ATM. But I wouldn't say full advantage, but enough to really have that lead. So we're still separated by the 6%. That's all they need, really. Or at least if there's a 2-star coming out, then obviously they're going to have a minimum requirement. But of course, 18 are going to try and look for that triple to try and make sure to give them any leverage, or at least a high 2-star. But for Entropy, it does depend on how ATM will work around it here. I think Addy's going to be the last attacker here, I assume, for Entropy. We know that he had a failed attempt previously. Hopefully it won't be the same this time round. But Yo-Yo, he's going to be coming out here with, see exactly what shenanigans he's going to be up to here. 23 Hog Riders once again, and with the one healing spell as well for later on. The Queen coming out now on the east side in that 4 o'clock position, going straight in towards that scanner shot compartment. No mucking around here, B.
No mucking around at all. Let's see what he can do. This is Yo-Yo's known for his lalers. This is a little bit unexpected to see him coming in with Hogs. Maybe taking a page out of Synthe's book, though he's coming with the Queen charge, so maybe not, because Synthe, we know, loves his mass Hogs. But in either direction, we do have this Queen working along. We need to secure the Town Hall with her. We don't want to run the Hogs through it or into the mix. So I say we can use a Queen to do it. We still have a blimp that he has in store. One thing that I have noticed we've seen players do is use the blimp with Yetis for these ground style attacks and even force them into the core of the base where we have multis or areas that we want to take down if we can't get that Queen connection. And I suspect that is what we're going to see here.
Yeah, the Queen's continuing to get a lot of value out of this at the moment. Rage Spell does drop, and so does the Hog Riders. They're coming straight in from the north side. And remember, this triple is so important here for Yo-Yo and the rest of ATN here to keep themselves in this matchup. Going straight in for that multi as well. Still has the healing spell in his back pocket to use. Just a matter of trying to get the best placement. And you know what? That's a very good placement. At least that way they could charge on forward, go for the AD at the same time, just barely in range of that as well. And these Hog Riders are looking very good indeed. The ones in the center, though, have already taken quite a bit of damage along the way, but there isn't really too much defense left as of yet, though. The Queen using the invisibility spell just to try and save her backside that she's pushing in from the south side as well. Will be greeted by that Tesla farm as well, but a couple of Hog Riders do try and cushion the blow a little bit, because remember, the Queen's already used her ability. It's just a matter of trying to keep her alive if they can, and it looks like she will just be able to stay alive here. There wasn't enough defense there in order to really take her down, and this is looking very good for Yo-Yo. Plenty of time to get this triple, plenty of Hog Riders as well to make use of here, and it looks like it will be a triple for Yo-Yo of ATN, and it's also a matter of what Entropy can do here.
Yeah, I'm looking at this and I'm watching and this is such a beautiful hit, and you just think it may not even be enough. Yo-Yo comes in with a 3-star where they need, and it may not be enough. Entropy Gaming, one final opportunity to try and pull through this first victory in a best of 3. And if you can do that against ATN, you really are giving yourself a solid start, because ATN is a team that is used to going into these situations, and we often see them actually firing away hard and just trying to get it done as quickly as possible. I don't know that this is going to be the case here for them.
Yeah, I said it before, like a 2-0 for either team, really, just to avoid revealing any more information about their base layout, their builds, or what attacks they bring to the table is crucial here. Neither team wants to take this to a third and final match in this series. Of course, this is the first match, could be the first of many, technically, considering what we've seen so far. It's been very back and forth, but Addy, he had a bit of a slip-up along the way in the last matchup. Hopefully, it won't be the same for him at this time round. Hopefully, it'll be a different story, because in the last matchup against Repotted, he had a 2-star 75%. And of course, that's something you don't want to replicate going into this final attack. So for Addy, he needs to get a triple. He can't have anything lower. And if he does, it means he's still the deal and able to topple 18 in this first match in this best of 3. But already the Town Hall has been taken down. The Queen will also fall momentarily. The Drags, the Loons, and those Drag Riders as well. We're coming out here from the eastern side. It's going to be a very fast approach indeed. It's just a matter of if this is going to work or not.
Yeah, so, Addy is one of the stronger hitters for Entropy Gaming, which is kind of fitting that he's actually hitting on this final attack that is going to be so important for them to try and claim a victory in this best of 3. So Warden with the early tome, trying to keep the Drag Riders working through. This is about the first time, I think, that we've seen the Drags and Drag Riders actually going into the center of the base where we expect them to go. Not away, not around the outskirts, actually pathing exactly where he had hoped. But Eagle still stands. We need to take that down, and we still need to send in those bats, but we still have a blimp to add into this mix-up. And he's got so much left over, including the Royal Champ, who's just coming in.
Yeah, certainly is indeed, and still the RC got her ability. The Stone Slam has come out as well. Still got that one Dragon Rider, still got those 6 bats later on. So in terms of the spells, does have the invisibility and a few freezes. So it's all about how he can get those placements to work in his favor and try and get as much value as possible. But the bats have come out from that 10 o'clock side along with the Dragon Rider. And you can see the RC just used her ability also to try and execute this attack a little bit better, but also trying to take down that scanner shot as well. But a lot of those bats were taken down from the trap, so they're trying to get there as soon as physically possible. Another free spell had to be initiated just in order to make sure to avoid that splash damage later on. And And even then, though, 45 seconds left here, B. I'm not really too sure. Even with this invisibility spell, I don't think it's going to work out. As even then, though, still push it on forward, and RC is still alive. But the problem is the health is so low, kind of a replica of what we saw in that last war. Finally, does get taken down by the mortar, and it's only the king in that 1 minion left standing. It's definitely not going to be a triple, considering he's still got the mine and the storage in that north side. And for Addy, again, it's another 3-star miss in terms of potential. He had the 2-star 75% in the previous war. This time round, it's going to be a 2-star and in the 90s, which does mean here, B, that ATN are going to be able to topple Entropy by the closest and most narrow of margins. And again, it had to go by the final attack here in this war. So ATN will win by that measly 1-star and the small percentage as well. And they're going to be pretty damn happy about that, B.
Oh, you can see how happy they are. Look at Val is very happy about this. Definitely keeping it close, exciting, interesting, and that is exactly what we expect out of a finals matchup, especially for a pretty epic season that we've had. 1-star win for